Hey guys, this is going to be a very important video with, of course, critical information that you should know about that sadly is becoming more and more difficult to get a hold of. Now, obviously, we are living in extraordinary times, and with that comes an extraordinary situation and, of course, a very large transfer of wealth that is happening right now as America's super rich are getting richer. Their wealth is increasing. Meanwhile, everyone else, the lower class, the middle class, and even some of the upper class, they are getting hammered as small businesses are being destroyed. And after that destruction, the very powerful are only going to gobble them up. They are also getting loans with no guarantees of forgiveness, as of course major companies and hedge funds and Wall Street executives, well, they're just getting the direct line to Goldman Sachs. No, sorry. I got confused with the Federal Reserve and Goldman Sachs, but essentially we're talking about the same thing. And that's why in this video, we are going to be talking about one of the biggest and most important, wealthiest people in the world right now. And that, of course, is Bill Gates. But before we do that, I wanted to remind everyone, because of talking about this topic and other topics, our channel on the main YouTube channel, We Are Change, has been fully demonetized. And we rely on your support to keep ourselves going. And most importantly, I would ask everyone to sign up on our email list because sadly, after demonetization, after shadow banning, after blocking, comes just the deletion of videos, which sadly YouTube is doing more and more and more, trying to keep you away from information. They're trying to centralize what you can and cannot hear, obviously making this situation that much worse. But with the situation being bad for everyone in general, it's not really that bad for Bill and Melinda Gates, as they're purchasing a new luxury house to the tune of $43 million, and according to some reports, also just purchased a $644 million super yacht. Yes, times are good for Mr. Bill Gates, and obviously he's a person that I have a very, very different perspective on many things, including the video that you're about to see. Joining me for this conversation is, of course, the Liberty advisor, Tim Pashot, which we're going to go into a lot of finance, a lot of other stuff, China, and even the talk of vaccines, even the talks of blocking out the sun. It's going to get wild here. But Tim, let's play a little bit of this video first to give you a perspective about two of the things that Bill Gates most worries about. And this is eye-opening, to say the least.
Honorable.
Taxes are theft. People don't like getting robbed. People don't like getting their money taken away from them, given to fat cat bureaucrats, mafiosos that mishandle it, that mismanage it. What? Huh? The cattle slaves don't like having a pound of flesh cut off of them? How do we rectify that? To launder his money through, of course, quote, charity work. This is absolutely insane. Him saying the taxes are too low. The estate tax, I love that tax. What?
Well, let me clue people in on something. I am a certified financial planner. I mean, one of my main specialties is in the area of charitable giving. And how I got into the crypto space was I was helping people who made who bought Bitcoin at 5 cents, and now let's see what's today. Yeah, it's almost $700-800. How do you sell that without getting hit with capital gains? So the they them those Bill Gates crowd, what they do is there's different ways to do this. Actually, I spoke yesterday at the Escape Artist Conference. So this is one of my main wheelhouse areas. So what they do is there's different vehicles where, let's say you had Microsoft stock when it was worth nothing, like Bill Gates did. Well, you can then transfer that to a charitable remainder trust. You bypass all capital gains. You're saving $238,000 per million. Then you're getting tax deductions on top of that. The trust pays out you while you're alive. Then that income that you're getting is then offset by the other tax deduction you got. And then what they're doing is they're setting up life insurance inside of a special types of life insurance trusts called irrevocable life insurance trusts, or ILITs. Those ILITs then flow outside of the estate, and so that way their heirs are getting tax-free death benefits. And Bill Gates knows this stuff. He has people that are just as smart as me or smarter, and a whole team of them that are well more paid than me, that then get to go in and plan out all this stuff. And so effectively the rich have their legacies get to be maintained forever. And now, for basically letting the Bitcoin community know this, I lost my job in 2018 for speaking at Anarchapulco. So, I did take, sort of a, one of the arrows on this, because I wanted to expose what these guys were doing. And actually I had an image of Bill Gates in that presentation, because the ultra elite, this big secret is they don't pay the estate tax, because they're the ones who own the politicians that write the rules that help get around this stuff. And so that's why we saw, the Walmart family recently moved a ton of their, shares of Walmart, the Walton family, into, not the Walmart family, the Walton family moved it into their own special types of trusts. And there's many, now I don't know exactly how Bill Gates did it, because there's lots of different ways that you could do it. But the point is that, there are these strategies available, but what they want to do is, it's like the bug's life. It's not about, food. It's about keeping those ants in line. And so the taxation is a way to keep those ants in line, us being the ants, us being the tax slaves over here. Yeah. And so that it's all being used.
How could we allow people to have so much money? What? What, like who's going to allow? You're the central control. I mean, this geek didn't become one of the world's richest people being nice, being charitable the whole time. Okay, the charity, the offshore corporations, the hidden companies that we don't know about. I mean, they're consorting.
Doesn't he own a lot of Monsanto too? Doesn't he own a lot of Monsanto?
Yeah, he owned a lot of Monsanto stock, which is now Bayer stock, and that person who owns that company, right? That company, and the devastation that it has caused the world, especially with glyphosate. And that's only one particular aspect of Monsanto that we just know about. There's many others that we still don't know about, especially when it comes to a lot of their GMOs, seed splitting, and just Frankenstein experiments that should scare the crap out of everyone. But the person who's one of the biggest investors in Monsanto, you want that person in trust of your health? By the way, he's also not a medical doctor, but he's going to be talking about a lot of other stuff right now in this video. Let's keep playing it from here. Play it into the next kind of thing that really Bill Gates worries about, and that, of course, is population control, which he's going to be talking about here. When he's bringing up China, even China's not doing this. This is another component here that people need to realize here. He's a supporter of China, especially with the news that we're going to be talking about in just a little bit. But here is the second thing that Bill Gates is most worried about. Let's play it from here.
Progress we're making on poverty, which is admirable, and you advocate higher taxes.
That's enough of that from Bill Gates. And unfortunately, this guy, just like look at the propaganda that goes into this. I mean, this is layers and layers and layers of propaganda deep, because then he also, I'm sure, owns a lot of the media or through his companies. I mean, like MSN and stuff. I mean, they can then, seed this out there to then use their mouthpieces to then, get people for an estate tax. Well, actually, the estate tax in America, if you made a bunch of money, or a wealthy entrepreneur, now is actually the time to do estate planning, because it just got raised right around like $23 million for a husband and wife, whereas it used to be like not too long ago, like $1 million and $3 million in 2011. I think there wasn't any, or maybe it was 2012. And so right now, from like a complicated estate planning tax point, like if you are a We Are Change listener or viewer and sitting on a boatload of capital gains, now is the time to do planning, because the IRS also recently issued something saying that, if you give away money now and try to get it out of your estate, that they're not going to then claw it back later on if they then lower that limit from, let's say, 23 million down to $1 million. So there are opportunities now, getting into a lot of geek stuff, but that is like my main wheelhouse and we didn't really know we're going to get into this before we started talking today. But I mean, Bill Gates is up to this so much, crazy crap. I mean, also up into, what do we have? I mean, was there something else you wanted to get into first, Luke, though?
Well, of course. I mean, what he was talking about, especially with education, which has been pretty much indoctrination for a lot of people to believe and trust the system. I mean, this whole charade of we're just trying to help people should be highly questioned. It's very unlikely that it's genuine, but you look at what they're doing behind the scenes that we don't even know about with this next article by The Guardian. If you could pull it up there, Tim, this is titled, "They're Called the Good Club, and they want to save the world." This is, again, just the most obscene amount of propaganda and disinformation that you could ever believe in. We have individuals like Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, David Rockefeller, Michael Bloomberg, meeting with, of course, Bill Gates and others to discuss population control. And they're doing this for your good, but they're doing this in total secret, even though it's good for you, even though everything good that they do has the best PR behind it. So everyone finds out about all their charitable givings, but this is really good for you. So we have to keep this secret from you because you can't know what's good for you, right? They have individuals in there like Ted Turner that also espouses the belief of population control and having a one-child policy, which he talked about, which he supported in China. He was one of the head people of CNN, was former before, and he personally has 4 children himself. I confronted
He's the largest landowner in America too.
And then he's going to be lecturing us about us living beyond our means, and then we have to understand that this is an extraordinary situation with the sickness that we're dealing with. A lot of projections are up and down. We still don't know the exact ramifications of what we're dealing with, but obviously this is a crisis, and this crisis is being seized by people to push on a lot of kind of crazy idea, immunity passports and others that are of course supported by individuals like Bill Gates that are supporters of top-down, centralized, big bureaucratic, wasteful governments like the governments in China, which Bill Gates just recently said that China did a lot of things right on a CNN show hosted by Fareed Zakaria, who talked to him about how China was deceiving the rest of the world. Bill Gates' response to that is, well, China's doing a lot of things right. What? They arrested doctors, journalists, whistleblowers that were warning the world about this, threw them in jail. Some of them are still missing, and Bill Gates thinks that.
Yeah, it looks like Luke may have just frozen us briefly, but luckily we do actually have some Bill Gates stuff that we can pull up, and he still is frozen on here. But that's what happens when you're shooting one shot, one take. But yeah, Luke, are you back with us right now?
Yeah. Everything's working. Everything's here working on my end.
All right. Well, we got to go
and get their testing in place, and they avoided the incredible economic pain. And it's sad that even the U.S., that you would have expected to do this well, did it particularly poorly. But it's not time to talk about that. But this is the time to take the great science we have, the fact that we're in this together, fix testing, treatments, and get that vaccine. And, minimize the trillions of dollars and many things that you can't even dimensionalize in economic terms that are awful about the situation that we're in. So that's a distraction. I think there's a lot of, incorrect and unfair things said, but it's not even time for that discussion.
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming down on the side of you've got to, basically kind of agree with Fareed Zakaria on something. I mean, that the world is in a pretty messed up spot, Luke. But yeah, sorry, for whatever reason, the Zoom powers that be cut off, but I was able to go
China. Yeah, no, so you still hear me? My audio was coming in through?
Yep, it's good.
Okay,
now.
yeah, I mean, just going through here, there should be a lot of skepticism. There should be a lot of doubt. There should be a lot of questions, and there's not. There's a lot of whitewashing. There's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of disinformation, like this one by NPR. I don't know if you could bring up the NPR article, but it's titled, Virus Researchers Cast Doubt on Theory of Sickness Lab Accident. And again, this is just total propaganda piece talking about particular experts who are saying that this sickness didn't come out of a lab, but it came out naturally. Who are the experts? Well, one of them is, of course, Peter Daszak, and you just do a little bit of research, and this is a person connected to that lab in Wuhan, China, that, of course, a lot of people are pointing fingers at. The same lab connected to U.S. funding, the same lab connected to Bill Gates and his associates that many people point to, and there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that this sickness came from. And now we're having this propaganda piece by NPR quoting experts with conflict of interest to these labs saying, no, there's no way there was an accident here. And of course, many people are responding, and they're responding wherever they can, including Bill Gates's Instagram posts. And if you look at his Instagram post, Bill Gates has stopped posting on there, but a lot of people haven't stopped posting a lot of very interesting comments, of course, questioning Bill Gates. And if you really have just 5 minutes, strongly recommend you check out, if you're looking for just something entertaining to read, Bill Gates' Instagram is definitely the place to go. And then we have articles like this by the New Yorker that are titled The Dangers of Sickness Conspiracy Theories, targeting Bill Gates. I mean, what? I mean, we're talking about an individual who's one of the world's richest people, has secret meetings, advocates population control, keeps talking about a vaccine and digital certificate, which again, the modern medical science officials are still questioning and doubt because of, again, the high antibody cases, the reinfection rate, the possibility of a vaccine working here is in limbo, but we're not hearing that. We're hearing that this is the final and end all solution when there should be a lot more debate. This is not coming from a conspiracy theory point of view, but just even talking about these issues, talking about Bill Gates cheerleading for China, talking about that was, again, my conjecture on the situation. Bill Gates buying up all these purchases, the rich getting richer, the situation unfolding in front of us. That's a bannable offense. So if you can, share this video with your friends and family members. Get this out there. Tim, this is a pretty good video. I'm going to make this on the main channel so people could follow us on Change the News, which is going to be our backup channel. Anything else you want to say really quickly about?
Yeah, let's not forget that we do have a podcast as well that people can get this. You can get the audio of everything we're saying. Which I know for me personally, if you're outside doing yard work, running around, it's a little bit easier sometimes to digest. But let's also not forget that Bill Gates has his hand in geoengineering, and so here we have articles from MIT Technology Review saying geoengineering is controversial. How can you do experiments? Harvard has some ideas. Well, that makes me feel nice and warm and fuzzy that Harvard has ideas. Now we have CNBC, or I like to call it CNBS, where, essentially what they're going on and saying is that Bill Gates funded chemical cloud could help stop global warming. So yeah, of course it can. And if this sounds crazy, which it does, we also have, and we just don't have the resources right now to go through everything, but there is a video of John Brennan. I believe it's this one right here on Council on Foreign Relations. I'm not sure where in the video it is, but you have the former CIA director, while he is the acting CIA director, talking about the geoengineering program where they need to spray particles in the sky to block out the sun to then help with global warming. And then just imagine the unintended consequences of that. And then there is a video called What in the World of the Spring, another one called Why in the World of the Spring. There is a scientist who they have on there. His name is, I believe it was, let's see, it's in our David Keith. I want to say David Knight, but no, David Keith. David Keith in that video was going on and saying something to the effect of, we haven't really done any studies on what this does to affect humans when we spray all these particulates in the air. And then you go to this article over here from The Guardian, and this was back from 7 years old, actually, and it talks about how Bill Gates has a program in New Mexico where they're having, balloons flying at 80,000 feet over Fort Sumner, New Mexico.
Bill, the place where his good old pal, Jeffrey Epstein, that he met before, that he lied about meeting and having a friendship with, also has a big ranch there. How convenient. Sorry, go ahead. I forgot the Jeffrey Epstein connection to Bill Gates, which is another reason to question him.
And then didn't Epstein, too, I don't think we've ever talked about this, didn't he win the lottery twice or something in New Mexico, or at least once when there was some special trust and they got traced back? We're not prepared to talk about that. There's all sorts of rabbit holes that we can get into, but Bill Gates up to a lot of weird stuff. But appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to see the links below to check out the podcast, and also check out the new channel because we're very appreciative to be over 10,000 subs in that. But that's all I've got today, Luke.
Yeah, we're trying to, of course, make sure that we could still kind of safeguard our ability to communicate with you. Again, one of the best ways to do that is to sign up for the email list, check out the backup channel, and be aware that this information is not only being censored, it's being criminalized, especially in the United Kingdom, where there's advertisements by the local police departments there. I think this is the last kind of tweet that I sent you there, Tim, if you could just pull that up really quickly, where they're talking about, if someone's talking about conspiracy theories, you have to report them, right? Absolutely mind-boggling, insanity, total 1984 Orwellian backward society that we're deep diving into. And the only way to prevent it is to spread and to communicate truthfully and effectively. This is more important than ever to raise your voice. We hope you're doing so. We hope we provided you important information. Share this video with your friends and family members before it could even potentially be taken down, because the only thing stopping censorship from happening is you and your actions. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.